For the fittest on Earth, it's a chance to reassert their dominance. For the rising stars, it's a chance to prove they belong. And for the fans, it's a chance to see the greatest collection of athletes in the sport of fitness. The past, the present, and the future collide in Columbus. It's the 2019 Rogue Invitational. It is the final day of competition at the Rogue Invitational. 3 events remain. 2 races will be decided. One is for $50,000. The other is for an invitation to the CrossFit Games. Mat Fraser is the leader for the money. He sits atop the overall standings after 5 events.
My performance, I feel very good. There's some stuff in some of the workouts that I'm incredibly disappointed in myself in. But all that's gonna do is just put something on my whiteboard for the next 3 months.
Chandler Smith is in 4th, but most importantly, he is ahead of the other men, looking to move on to the CrossFit Games.
Normally this amount of pressure would weigh on me pretty heavily. A couple years ago, I was in a qualifying spot on Saturday night at regionals and then had a terrible Sunday performance, because I felt I let the pressure get to me, but I'm trying to frame it and see it as just a privilege and focus on the good things here.
Mat Fraser rarely makes mistakes. He made 2 in the opening events. He was penalized 10 seconds for taking the wrong route out of the stadium in event 1. It cost him the win. A missed rep proved costly in the next event.
I just jumped up for my last pull-up, and as I went up, I said, where's the finish lag?
And they are off at the same time, and now a sprint to the finish, but Fraser with a no rep.
How did I get a no rep on a pull-up?
Fraser got back on track with a win in event 4, Amanda .25.
Mat Fraser takes Amanda .25.
Then he took aim at the top of the standings.
And the 3-time fittest man on Earth is going to take 2nd place in the biathlon.
Fraser in the overall lead is not a surprise, but Chandler Smith's performance is.
Smith sliding across the finish line, 5:22.2 seconds. Smith is in, and he will take 2nd in the heat and maybe get himself 1 step closer to Madison.
Chandler Smith has never been to the CrossFit Games. There is a good chance that will change after the next 3 events. Mat Fraser has a 40-point lead over Pat Vellner, the man who finished 2nd to Fraser at the CrossFit Games last year. Cole Sager is in 3rd with 360 points. Chandler Smith sits in 4th. He is nearly 200 points ahead of the rest of the men vying for the invitation to the CrossFit Games.
These guys are superstars in my eyes, and they still are, but I think I just have managed to know that I can keep up with them on some of the stuff, so I'm not like, that's not as much of a factor as it was when this competition started.
There are 3 events left on the final day of competition. The first is all about engine. Event 6 is the Cyclone, and it promises to unleash a storm on the athletes. 40 calories on the Rogue Echo bike, a 200-meter shuttle run with a 150-pound Rogue Cyclone bag, and 40 calories on the bike to finish it off. Simple, effective, devastating.
It's gonna be nasty. This is a burn.
You're gonna come off the bike, and when you have that thing in a bear hug, you are not gonna feel great.
My oh my, it is not easy to carry that sucker on your chest after you just did a sprint on the Echo bike. So,
It's gonna be how fast you can move with that sandbag, and then how hard you can finish, how strong you can finish.
People will fall, I think, running. with that heavy cyclone bag after the bike, it's going to be pretty embarrassing to watch the Bambi legs out there. So
that bike is brutal. So that would just be who's willing to hurt the most.
All the men in the competition took to the field in one heat.
The men at the 2019 Rogue Invitational are about to face a cyclone. It's the 6th of 8 scored events here in Columbus, Ohio.
Athletes can't win the event on their opening bike ride. They can, however, lose it.
We got 2 times you gotta be on this bike. On the first clip, I say, hammer the bike immediately, 20 seconds as hard as you can go, then ride it out. Just kind of let that heart rate come down a little bit, because the last thing you want is to be gasping for air before you grab that bag.
Mat Fraser now getting to the bag. They have to carry it in a bear hug, and they have to do 4 laps out and around those pylons.
Fraser and Cole Sager were not the first 2 off the bike, but they are the first 2 to get back on it.
Fraser and Sager are on their home stretch here. Cole Sager's back on the bike along with Mat Fraser, 40 calories, and then a final sprint across the finish line.
And now look at the way Matt's pushing. Look at the tempo on that bike.
In the end, the champ was too much for Cole Sager.
And Fraser is off, and Mat Fraser is going to weather the storm and win Cyclone. Now it's a foot race behind him between Horner and Sager. Horner's going to just hold off Cole Sager for 2nd place, and Sager is going to take 3rd.
I thought that one for sure was going to be finishing middle of the pack. I was really nervous going into that one. So the fact that I won it was mind-boggling to me.
Patrick Vellner finishes 5th, losing to Fraser for the 3rd event in a row. Chandler Smith finishes 10th, his worst result of the competition, but it doesn't hurt him. He is still well ahead in the race to qualify for the games. In one event, Mat Fraser nearly doubles his lead over Pat Vellner. Cole Sager is now just 6 points out of 2nd place. Street Horner moves into 4th, with Chandler Smith dropping 1 spot to 5th. Just 2 events remain. Coming up, can Patrick Vellner hold off Cole Sager for 2nd place on the overall leaderboard? Will Chandler Smith realize his dream of getting an invite to the CrossFit Games? The final events of the 2019 Rogue Invitational. Next.
The 2019 Rogue Invitational on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Rogue. Don't weaken. By Go Ruck. Founded by a Green Beret, Go Ruck is pioneering rucking as a fitness activity. And by Reebok, featuring their latest campaign, Sport the Unexpected.
Rogue Fitness headquarters takes up 37 acres in Columbus, Ohio. But this weekend, fans are flocking to a small portion of that space, Vendor Village. The athletes continue to flock to the gym to warm up and stay loose. 6 events over 2 days can have an effect. Mat Fraser, however, is getting stronger as the competition goes on. It's a habit for the 3-time fittest man on Earth. Fraser will look to put the finishing touches on another competition victory in the final 2 events. Event 7 brings the athletes back inside. There are only 2 movements, but both will take their toll. 3 rounds of dumbbell snatches and strict deficit handstand push-ups. A complete assault on the shoulders.
That dumbbell isn't light, but these athletes I think are all strong enough to where they're gonna handle it.
And that Parallette handstand push-up, we all know once those go away, they kind of go away and don't come back for a while. So the pacing on that's gonna be really important.
It's just gonna be to see who can handle it faster and then walk over and still do strict Parallette handstand push-ups.
Really cool workout. I mean, something really heavy, something high skill, similar to kind of what we saw, I guess not so much, but with the Amanda workout where there's like high skill involved gymnastic stuff.
Colton Mertens has been stuck in the middle of the pack for most of the competition. That changes in the first heat. Mertens crosses the finish line more than 2 minutes faster than anyone else in his heat. His time of 7 minutes 13 seconds is the mark to beat with 1 heat remaining.
And it works for Colton Mertens, and he will take heat number 1.
Coming up, Mat Fraser looks to chase down Colton Mertens and put a stranglehold on the top spot of the leaderboard. The final heat of Event 7 when the 2019 Rogue Invitational continues. The 2019 Rogue Invitational is coming to a close. For the fans, that means they are running out of opportunities to watch the fittest athletes in the world compete. Time is also running out to catch Mat Fraser. He has the overall lead coming into the second to last event, Snatch and Press. And Mat Fraser does not surrender leads easily, if at all.
Final heat of event number 7 is underway.
You need to conserve your shoulders. Be very aware of what you're using and how much you're using them. And then you got to plan ahead. It's not about the first round, it's about the third round. So plan ahead so that you know you have enough left in the tank to really be able to race that last round.
Mat Fraser's plan is simple. Leave no doubt.
Mat Fraser right now is running away with this event. And if it were anybody else, you'd say, wow, maybe you went out too hot. But for him, that's just business as usual. Fraser done with round number 1, flashes a smile to the crowd.
We're going into that event. I knew I had a good lead. I knew with some of the shifting that was about to happen from that event that I was going to be over 100 points ahead. So yeah, that's when I kind of took a look around, soaked it all in, because it's the first one. I want to see it.
Fraser back to the wall for his second round of handstand push-ups. And he is all by himself. And once again, it's not really a question of how or if, but by how much. No one is with him right now. Final round now for Mat Fraser.
While Fraser pulls away from the field, Cole Sager pulls closer to Pat Vellner.
Cole Sager was only 6 points back of Pat Vellner for second place overall. Sager looking to put himself right behind Mat Fraser on the leaderboard. Fraser's done, 9 reps to go.
I went back for my last set of handstand push-ups, and I saw where I was, and it's like, oh, I should do like 5 and 4, 6 and 3 on this last set. And the crowd was just deafening, and I was like, okay, I'll do it.
Dread it, run from it. Destiny arrives all the same. And now, it's here. Mat Fraser is inevitable as he takes yet another event and looking like he's gonna win the Rogue Invitational.
That explosion and celebration, that's just the crowd. That has nothing to do with where I'm finishing or anything like that. That's just, that crowd was erupting.
Scott Panchik follows Fraser across the finish line. Cole Sager is next.
Cole Sager comes across the finish line. He's looking to take over second place overall on the standings. Chandler Smith, meanwhile, with 1 rep to go. That'll count, and Chandler Smith keeps rolling along, and he might want to get ready to head to Wisconsin.
Pat Vellner is still on the floor. The handstand push-ups have stopped him in his tracks.
I've never seen him struggle this much with those handstand push-ups. We've seen it plenty of times in the games with this movement, and he does just fine.
Vellner will lock that out, and he is in. And Pat Vellner will take 11th in the event. So he's going to get knocked out of second place by Cole Sager.
Mat Fraser is on his way to another competition win. Chandler Smith is in 5th, 1 win away from an invitation to the CrossFit Games. The real race is for 2nd and 3rd. Pat Vellner sits 22 points back of second place Cole Sager and 22 points ahead of 4th place Street Horner. The final event will determine the podium, just the way Vellner wants it.
One of the reasons I've been successful thus far is because I'm really good at having a short memory and trying to take every event one at a time and take it for what it's worth and make a plan and try to execute it. And if things go well or they go poorly, I move on quickly.
Next, lift heavy, lift fast. Speed and strength are on display in the final event of the 2019 Rogue Invitational.
The 2019 Rogue Invitational on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Rogue, Don't Weaken, by RP Diet App, the revolutionary new diet app to reach your fitness goals, and by Reebok, featuring their latest campaign, Sport the Unexpected.
There are plenty of attractions at the Rogue Invitational. The Legends competition is one of the most popular. The athletes who help build the sport of fitness compete in 4 events of their own. 2008 Fittest Man on Earth, Jason Kalipa, is crowned champion. 2010 CrossFit Games winner Graham Holmberg finishes second. Fan favorite Dan Bailey takes third. Fans love watching the legends. They also love watching heavy barbells go up. They were about to get a lot of that in the final event, the Squat Clean Ladder. It blends strength and endurance. First, the athletes must bring the weight from the ground to their shoulders, receiving the bar in a squat. Then the men have to stand for the lift to count. As the rep gets lower, the weights get heavier.
We knew we wanted to go heavy at the end, so that's where the Squat Clean Ladder came in.
I really like the workout. I think it's awesome. I think it's going to be fast. I think these guys are going to move through these weights really quick.
These weights are all weights that these athletes have hit before. It's just going to be their ability to put it all together under kind of a pressure situation.
It's going to be exciting to watch. I think it's going to be a good finish. Again, a tight race. I think it's going to be close, especially with these weights.
A good old-fashioned squat clean ladder to finish it off. Watch the boys move some heavy weight and do it fast by the looks of the weights on there. So people are going to be moving, and it's going to be fun to watch. That's always a great sprints to finish the weekend.
Chandler Smith isn't the only member of the U.S. Army in the Rogue Invitational. Jacob Pfaff turns in his best performance of the competition in the first heat of the Squat Clean Ladder.
Jacob Pfaff barrels over his barbell. He is in. He's going to win the heat. Mertens is going to take second.
Pfaff edges out Mertens by 5 seconds. The time to beat? 4 minutes, 43 seconds.
This is it. Final event of the 2019 Rogue Invitational. It's the Squat Clean Ladder. A fantastic weekend here in Columbus, Ohio. 10 reps at 185 pounds to start things off.
Pat Vellner can't catch Mat Fraser in the standings, but he can overtake Cole Sager for second.
Vellner done first, and he moves on to the 285-pound barbell. 6 reps remaining total.
While Vellner and Sager battle for position on the leaderboard, Mat Fraser finds himself in a fight with Scott Panchik for the event win.
Fraser's done with that barbell, and he will step up to 305, 2 reps remaining. And that is 1 down for Fraser. Panchik, meanwhile, this would be his second successful lift. Panchik's gonna hit it, and Scott Panchik will win the event. Mat Fraser will take second, but he is your 2019 Rogue Invitational champion.
T and I were talking trash. He comes in the bag and says, yo, I got 4 event wins. You only have 3 so far. I said, okay, I'll be back in 5 minutes. I thought I won it. And I looked at the leaderboard and Panchik slipped in.
Vellner gets the performance he needs. Then he gets help.
Vellner, he is done. And Pat Vellner is across the finish line, and he's ahead of Cole Sager.
5 more men close out the event ahead of Cole Sager. Sager fails to complete the ladder. Second place overall belongs to Vilma. Another competition, another dominant victory for Mat Fraser. He finishes 158 points ahead of Pat Vellner. Cole Sager hangs on to a spot on the podium in 3rd. Street Horner finishes 4th. And it's Chandler Smith taking 5th and earning the invitation to his first career CrossFit Games.
Now that I've qualified, I want to do well. If I do well, I want to do better. If I do better, I want to continue to do better longer than anybody else. So it's really kind of a never-ending cycle of goals, you know, that you never really reach it. Because if you reach it, you're satisfied, you get complacent, you get caught up to.
Getting to come to the Rogue Invitational was like a dress rehearsal for the CrossFit Games.
I'd say overall, I have a good laundry list of stuff I need to go over and work on.
It's sort of an arms race, right? We're all doing it all the time, and I'm gonna go home and do my homework, and he's gonna do his, and we'll see each other again in August.
Mat Fraser reasserts his dominance, and his championship run may be far from over. Chandler Smith proves he belongs. The first lieutenant in the U.S. Army is marching to Madison. And the greatest collection of athletes in the sport of fitness give the fans a spectacular show, a celebration of the past, an homage to the present, and a glimpse of the future. Thanks for joining us at the 2019 Rogue Invitational. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.